Good afternoon. So this will be another chapter in the Ziggurat of Ur series, and I will hold this video while I'm improving these two actually containers. They look similar, but they're actually very different. This is a crucible, and it's now dry, but it requires thicker flour. So we'll actually do it and add more color to the complexion. And this one is actually it's a metal container that is inside a clay red one, which signifies the transformation of titans from titans to actually Homo sapienses. And what we actually need to do now is, I want to use it as an ashtray for cigars. So what I need now is to add here, cigar ashtrays that they have kind of like a big, half tube to place a cigar. So I'll add it now. And in the meantime, I hope you're not offended that I'll do it while I'm sculpturing. I should speak not about an historical, specific historical event, even though I promise that later I will actually hold another video with many important historical, biographical events. But I want to discuss something regarding my life that is relevant because it happens right now. A manifestation of this issue, and also, I recall that because previously I spoke in the previous chapter I spoke about the ways that the Mossad and also the Shabak they control the people that they use as slaves, and they said that they are drugging them, they poison them, and they have to take the antidote every a week or every day. If they are in discipline mode. But there is actually another method, very cruel and totalitarian way, and I do not know if it's only used on the people that they consider like robots, which means titans, or also on humans. Most certainly, whenever from experience alone, whenever I encountered such a question, I see behavior of the people of Israel, the cruel people of Israel, and ask myself, is it for titans or for Homo sapienses? 99% of the cases, the answer is both. Just as the way it is, you can deduce whatever you want from it. So mostly it probably work. This kind of poisoning work on both. So let's start the sculpturing. Both titans and Homo sapienses. I should say right now that I have almost complete immunity. In effect, an immunity to this kind of poisoning. But of course, the fact that I'm immune to it doesn't mean that, they do not think that I should be, that, it works on me, and, the Israelis, and that they try to deduce all sorts of extreme, deductions from supposedly, the way that, I also controlled by this kind of mechanism. So, this is actually a tune, kind of like a pitch meeting, a tune, a sound, and a subliminal sound that is, manufactured from the smartphone, but it could be manufactured from any device actually. But it should be, it requires, mostly it requires, to be a mobile device. I don't know how they've done it before. Before, cellular phone were that common. Maybe they didn't have this kind of control mechanism back in the day. So, I should say now that actually the Shabak and the Mossad, they have many ways to terrorize you, whether if you are a titan or Homo sapiens, using sound. Sound is the main way of terrorizing people in Israel. So this is in itself, it's just one another way to terrorize using sound. But there is something very special with this specific type of terrorism. And I should explain what's special about it. Because the objective of this terrorism, of this subliminal sound, is not to irritate you, as it is very common, in other sound effects, or to create subliminal effects, or to have to implant presumably kind of triggers, hypnotic triggers in your subconsciousness. No. The purpose of this specific mechanism is to make you addicted to this sound. Yes, it's a real thing, and I'm certain they use it on Titans, but also on Homo sapienses. And of course, they used it on me all my life. So a D, with regards to Titans, I guess it for Homo sapiens is really different. So it's like another issue. But regarding the robots, the idea is something like that. You are always with the mobile device. Of course, they can produce a sound from almost any device, but mostly it's from the mobile device. And you become addicted to this sound. So you have to, even though it's not a pleasant sound, you don't, in the conscious level, you don't hear it. But it's not a pleasant sound, but maybe it's not extremely non-pleasant, because you always live with it. And as I say, they have many other ways to terrorize you using sound. It's not the only way to terrorize. This is but this especially because it works as an addiction. I should say that I understand all of this. I remember very well when it was in one of my trips, my solo trips to Eilat, about 2 years ago, or 20 months ago. I had a trip to Eilat and I understood all of this, during my stay in Eilat for like 2 days. I slept on the car, on the Tesla, and had a lot of divinations and adventures. And that's where, and also I've done like experimentation on myself, and I understood this issue very well. I remember exactly when. It was in the Eilat trip, one of the Eilat trips. So now presumably you become addicted to this sound. So you always have to be near your smartphone or another device, or a smart device, which of course is the way to control you. Now, I understood very quickly that for some reason, the application, the force of course is kind of like a hidden application, not something that you can control, but the user can control. That the application does not work without SIM card. I understood it very, for all sorts of reasoning, like rational reasoning. So this is actually interesting. So the mobile phone have to be with the SIM card, with your SIM card inside of it, which presumably is not a big deal, because it's like that most of the time anyway, presumably. But when I understood that there is issue with the SIM card, actually understood before the Eilat trip. The Eilat trip was wrapping up all the evidence and like theories to one conclusive theory that I present before you now, and that I'm certain 100% that it's true. But I understood before that there is kind of like an issue with the SIM card. I understood that if I remove the SIM card from my mobile device and break it, from the perspective of the Shabak, people of the Shabak and the Mossad, it's kind of like committing suicide in a robotic way. So I actually done it many times during, even before this Eilat trip, like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, in all sorts of places in Israel. I have like a ceremony that I'm broken by all of the hypnotic triggers and torture, and I cut it off or break it, I throw it away like the SIM card, and then and it happened many times. So in every iteration, I understood what they expect me to do. And during this time, it's like right now and just years or so, it's not like that. But during the time that I refer to right now, I was one of my strategies was to actually try to understand what the people actually expect me to do, and to actually do it sometimes in order to learn stuff, like to participate in the show. Of course, only to an extent, always. Not, I didn't cut my dick. A very important part of this show is that you need to cut your dick and to give it to them to eat. This is not a metaphor. This is just the way it is in Israel. This is the coolest place that ever existed. This is not a metaphor. That's what he expect you to do, like as a Titan male. But of course, I have never done it. But I performed other part of the show because it helped me understand all sorts of stuff. And one of the things it helped me understand is the issue with the SIM card, that this is kind of like a ceremonial suicide. And then, so during the last trip, I understood the issue. Like I wrapped up the issue, and understood and created like a unified theory, which is something like that. And I'm sure that it's correct. When you break the SIM card, your phone cannot continue. You manufacture this noise, and you are addicted to this noise. And after some time, you just become insane, So if you're Homo sapiens, maybe you kill yourself, and if you're, a Titan robot, you're undergoing like what they call the reset, which is kind of like a magical way. I don't know what it even means. I never had the reset, and maybe even the people of the Shabak in Israel don't really understand what it means, the reset. But it's kind of like a magical, it's kind of like an objective that you will do the reset and then you will cut their dick and give it to them to eat. Of course, the reset is some kind of like a death for the robot, presumably, at least in their mind. I've never experienced it, so I don't really understand, what's actually happening. And presumably, when you're addicted, and everyone is addicted to these sounds, when you're without your SIM card, of course, if you're in the car, in your car, maybe, it can be produced like from the, especially if it's like a smart car, like Tesla. So yes, maybe it can be produced like from the the audio like system of the car. If you are at your like home, like your bona fide home, sure it can be produced like from all sorts of like appliances. But let's say that you just you trip to a lot, like like in the time that I actually understand all of these to the greatest extent, and you leave your car and you start to walk, as I do many times, and I actually did in the lot. And if you ask, what did I do after I cut my SIM card so many times? So the quick answer is very simple. You just go to Dynamica, which is kind of like the chain, very large chain of like cellular boosters that give service to Cellcom. Cellcom, yes, yes, I'm. They're all the same, but one of the providers, I think Cellcom, and just give you a new SIM card for free, and I've done it maybe 20 times in the last 3 years. No one cares at all. Actually, I must say that in Jerusalem, in the Malcha Mall, so they have the Dynamica, like the Dynamica store, and several times actually, because I spend a lot of time in Jerusalem, so they have like a store in Malcha of Dynamica, and I went there several times to actually create a new SIM card. And they have two, like the two representatives, representatives. They are smoking hot. They are really, really good looking. And this was, actually it was one of them. Only times in the last 4 years that I was almost tempted to hit on one of the two because they were so good looking. But I reminded myself that sex is illegal in Israel, and this will only, put me in jail. Yeah, one is blonde and one is like, brunette. Anyway, so let's say that you are in a lot and you left your car and you start walking, as I've done. So, and you are without a SIM card. You break it. So what you should expect now? So again, maybe humans, they should, they start to lose their sanity. But I understood that presumably the robotic reaction was to undergo this like reset, which is kind of like a suicide and rebirth. When rebirth like in a much more susceptible condition, that you are now under the influence, presumably according to the theory. So the question is, how long do they expect it? Okay, so how long do they expect it to actually, after how long without, the SIM card, it should actually happen? My initial guess was that it's 24 hours, but this is actually not true. They expect it to happen within an hour, which is extreme, but that's the way it is. That's how they expected. So what actually happened to me after an hour? First, yes, I do feel the withdrawal symptoms. I'm not entirely immune to it. I'm mostly immune to it. It's like, the Princess Bride is only 99% dead, but not 100% dead. So I'm almost immune to it, but not entirely immune, because yes, I feel withdrawal effects. But the best way to actually combat the withdrawal effects from, my experience is, first of all, not to eat too much before you start the withdrawal. And actually, after I discovered it, I went through the withdrawal effect many times. Both because I wanted to get used to it in case I will need to do it in the future, but also because of many times as I said, I actually broke the SIM card for ceremonial purposes to understand all sorts of to be part of the show, at least for a limited time. So yes, I mean, it's best to not eat too much before you actually do it. Like to do it, to remove the sim on an empty stomach. But once it's starting, it's very important to actually drink water in high quantities. So as you know, now I'm without SIM card because I removed the SIM card, I mean, maybe an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours ago, I don't even remember. So they all expect me to reset. So that's why, I mean, you hear all the noises outside because, I mean, they're pushing the robot. Okay, you have resetted and now you should be under our command. Get out, I mean, and give us your penis. So that's why the Israelis are so, I mean, excited outside, I mean, in the street, like outside my window. But of course, I mean, it's not going to happen. What actually happens is, I mean, that I need to drink in the next like 2 or 3 hours. But after 3 hours or so, it's just passed, and I am no longer addicted, presumably addicted to the pitch sound. And this will happen in the next 10 minutes or so. I mean, in the end, like in the last stage of the crease. It's not a crease because I mean, I'm not really in crease. I mean, it's just kind of like a withdrawal. I mean, you know, milder I should say than withdrawal from many, you know, like Ritalin types drugs. If you know what I mean. And much easier than a severe hangover. And in the past I actually drank a lot of alcohol. Now I almost do not drink at all but I had like times in my life that I was borderline, I was medium functioning alcoholic. But thanks God I'm out of it. I still drink from time to time, but very little. So I mean, yes, but I know what's a severe hangover, and it's less than that, and it's also much shorter. Anyway, that's, I mean, how it affects me. But I mean, of course, the fact that I've done it so many times doesn't mean that I still think that, I mean, right now I should reset because I'm without the SIM card for several hours now. You can ask, so why do you like at all like use SIM card? I mean, why should you like re-addict yourself to this satanic mechanism? I mean, so don't use SIM card. But the problem is that, I mean, I need to live a life. Even as a monk, I still, I mean, I raised my daughters. I mean, I worked for some time. I mean, I need to live a life, and I cannot, I mean, always, I mean, you know, avoid water because they can put like, I mean, they can poison the water. Avoid SIM card. I mean, don't use cellular. I mean, don't use electricity. Don't open the window because, I mean, yes, they torture me in so many ways, and many times I understand that if I do something which is important, I mean, just for my well-being, which is normal thing, I will be subjected to torture. And many times I had to think, what do I prefer? Like, I mean, to deprive myself of a very basic, I mean, behavior of like a modern person, like speaking the cellular phone or drinking water from the tap, or I mean having a shower, or I mean to deal with the many kind of cruelties and tortures that will be for certain accompanying this kind of like normal behavior. Okay, so that will be all for now. I hope you found it interesting and enlightening, and I will continue to work on this ashtray and on the crucible, and after that I will hold another lecture, very important one, and we will get back to the Vechoropoulos as I promised, and another chapter in the Ziggurat of Ur series.